If I want to believe God for a $65 million plane, you cannot stop me. You cannot stop me from dreaming.
One of my chandeliers costs more than most people's house. I got 22 chandeliers in the house.
A few weeks later, I bought another one worth 3 times what that one was. Cash.
He made that airplane so cheap for me, I couldn't help but buy it.
This is the richest pastor in the US. He's worth over $780 million. He owns 3 private jets, 10 luxury yachts, $210 million in real estate, and a huge lineup of luxury cars. His followers earn on average around $32,000 a year, but thanks to them, he has an income of around $50 million a year. They'll donate to his church every week, despite him repeatedly boasting about his private jets. His yearly tax bill on his mansion should be $150,000, but since it's owned by the church, he only has to pay $3,000. This guy is just one of many millionaire pastors worldwide who preach the same message. Donate to this gospel and you'll be rewarded with prosperity.
Money coming to me now.
This is called the prosperity gospel, and it's been spreading around the world since the 1970s. It goes like this: if you give this guy money, eventually you'll be rewarded with prosperity. How can you be sure? Well, the pastor is rich, so there's your proof.
My second house cost $81,900, and this watch costs more than that.
Jesse Duplantis is pretty famous for not only being a very rich pastor, but also for regularly flexing in front of his church members.
I got a wrought iron fence around my home. I got a beautiful home. Don't get mad at me. It ain't my fault.
I got Louis Vuitton underwear. I got all kinds of stuff.
Get a shot of this, boys. Get close. Come on, man. See that gold? Some of y'all got that in your teeth. Gold is very, very expensive.
That's not bragging. You think it is. You think that's lavish living. No, that's biblical living.
Although he gets pushback from the media, his members still continue to donate, giving him an income of around $250,000 each month.
When they were fighting me about them jets, they said he has 4 jets. Well, I've never owned 4 jets at one time, but gave me an idea. I thought, well, praise the Lord, why not? Delta's got more than 4.
Tithing has been around for hundreds of years. It's where members voluntarily contribute to support the church, basically to keep the lights running and making sure the preacher isn't living in poverty. But in the prosperity gospel, this doesn't just support the preachers, but enables them to live a life that only a few could ever imagine.
There's a series of documents that total almost $50,000. What was that for?
That was to cut the Mercedes into a limo.
But you got this from donations, and you decided to use it to make a limo.
We really invested really good.
Televangelists like Benny Hinn like to refer to these donations as sowing your seeds. In other words, plant your seeds of money and then watch it grow. How do you sow your seeds? You just give it to him.
Okay, you can sow your seed right now by simply going to our website, bennyhinn.org.
Ironically, the prosperity gospel is really popular with impoverished communities. Just look at David Oyedepo, a Nigerian minister who owns hundreds of churches worldwide. His organization is called the Winner's Circle Movement, where Oyedepo is obviously winning.
Some fellow said, okay, I was worth $150 million. I said, that's an insult. $150 million, that's an insult.
His audience members earn on average $9,000 a year, and some of them give 10% of that to the church. Meanwhile, he's worth $200 million, but they have no problem donating, as they're often told that God will bless them with riches in return. From the outside looking in, it's easy to see the exploitation. Members are told that acceptance of the Lord will prevent them from ever being sick or suffer any kind of misfortune.
We are not asking you to give so the church can be blessed. We're asking you to give so you can be blessed. Give so you can be blessed.
Another prosperity preacher in Nigeria, Enoch Adeboye, once told his congregation that the only reason we still collect offerings is to get you out of poverty. It's promises like these that exploit people for their faith and desire for a better life. Now, his fans will claim that he's helping people, so he deserves to be rich. God is of course rewarding him with prosperity for spreading the good word. But is he being rewarded by God or his audience? And even still, some could say, well, he deserves it because he's helping his audience. If, like many, you have a desire to earn a lot of money and you're a Christian, then you're the perfect target. You have to believe in what this preacher is saying and donate as much as you can afford so that it can later come back to you. But if it doesn't work, then it's nobody's fault but yourself, because you're just not believing enough.
Giving does not automatically result into prosperity. You have to be spiritual for your giving to command the tongues.
So where did this gospel come from? It originated as an offshoot of Pentecostalism after World War II. It started small and gained traction in the 1980s with the rise of televangelism. The father of the prosperity gospel is considered to be Oral Roberts. He was a faith-healing evangelist. In his prime, his church was bringing in over $100 million a year. He became so popular that he started his own school, Oral Roberts University. Guess who attended this university? Your boy Kenneth. They both helped pave the way for a slew of prosperity preachers today.
Pastor West, I heard you got a jet. Yeah, and it's paid for. Now, wait a minute now. Why don't you get one?
Oh, I was on television. He said, I heard you was a millionaire. I said, that's not right. That's not true. He said, yes, it is. I said, no, it's not. Multi. Now add that to it and you'll be all right.
The prosperity gospel has a lot of parallels with the New Thought movement, like the positive thinking self-help concept that sparked The Secret. The idea that if you just think positively, you can heal yourself of any illness and you can gain whatever material wealth that you want. You just have to believe. The origins of this line of thinking can also be traced back to the early 20th century, where Pentecostal leaders who pondered the idea that structural inequality wasn't to blame for people being poor. The one who was to blame was the individual. Another big part of this was the thought that God was like a banker who gives money to those who deserve it. Jesus himself was like a model businessman. In 1925, an advertising executive wrote a whole book to argue that Jesus was the first great capitalist. Whether you like capitalism or not, we can't deny that it has some pros and cons. One of the glaring downsides is the disparity between rich and poor. In the early 20th century, some Christian leaders used their faith to justify why some deserve to be rich and others deserve to stay poor. Some people obviously were blessed with more money than they could ever spend, while others starved. America was founded as a Christian nation, but capitalism seemed to conflict with the teachings of Jesus, unless you find a way for them to seem more aligned. So you argue that if Jesus was alive today, he would be rich.
I really believe that if Jesus was physically on the earth today, he wouldn't be riding a donkey.
The prosperity gospel has an advantage over the positive thinking movement, since it has religion. Something that most people grow up with and already have a strong emotional connection to. If you're already religious and have things you want or need, the focus isn't to save money, invest, or work hard on your career, it's to simply have faith in God. However, having faith in God isn't by itself going to reward you with anything. You have to prove your faith, take action. Sure, going to church and saying your prayers and believing is good, but you have to take action with your wallet. You have to give to receive. There's of course fundamental flaws in this movement. Giving the church money so that God will later reward you with money or good health. It feels almost transactional. Kenneth Copeland once said in his book, Laws of Prosperity, "Do you want a 100-fold return on your money? Given and let God multiply it back to you. No bank in the world offers this kind of return."
If you belong to Christ, then are you Abraham's seed and heirs according to his promise, and his promise was great wealth.
Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this, like and subscribe, and let me know what you think in the comments.